everybody. Welcome to HBCU Original, and this is Spotlight Hour. Before we get started, we want to give a shout out to our sponsor for the day.
Today's show is sponsored by Donald Morton. Want to be a sponsor? Email us for more info. Now back to the show.
Yo, good day, everybody, everywhere. How you doing? It's your boy, J.L. Williams. Listen, we are here in the building with none other than my brother, Donald Morton. Man, let me run down some things about him because he's been such an impact in my life and the lives of so many other young Black men. And I just want to, sort of share some things. The HBCU original community, I just want you to, just listen up. Dr. Donald Morton, driven by a burning mission to change lives. Donald Morton embarked on a journey that has since transformed into a lifelong crusade. As Chief Visionary Officer of Remanned, Donald's dedication has never been to merely adjust the path of Black men, but to completely redefine it. At the heart of the Remanned, Donald's commitment is a bold promise to break the vicious cycle of missed potential and systematic barriers that often besiege Black men through speaking engagements, books, and media appearances on platforms such as TV One, BET, and USA Today. HBCU Original Family, I like to present to some and introduce to others the visionary chief officer, speaker, advocate for Black men, my brother, Donald Morton. My man, in the
building. My wife might think I'm somebody.
Man, when I told Vince, I said, man, I got to get my brother on. We definitely got to get him on. He's doing such great things, just around the world, and also in the cultural community of Black men. And so that speaks to the heart of what the things that we're doing. And so I definitely had to have you on, so we can interview you and talk about some things. One of the things that comes to mind for me is that when you made your pilgrimage from Delaware to Georgia, to ATL, I often wondered, I wonder if, when I look at Genesis 12:1, was that a part of his pilgrimage where, Abram is now have a call on his life to now move to a country, something outside of his comfort zone, outside of his familiarity, and being able to embark on something that was new, fresh, and would transform the hearts and minds of Black men all around the world. I know the community wants to know, and I know that it was on my heart that had anything to do with your transition.
Yeah, man. First, thank you guys for having me on. Quite frankly, BET, TV One, those are great places, but being able to talk to brothers like yourselves, brothers that I admire and respect, is at the top of the list. So those other places may sound big to everybody else, but there's nothing larger than being among brothers that are peers. And so I appreciate both of you for inviting me on.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, man, that's a part of it, right? I wish I could say it was as spiritual as you define, but not really. I've always wanted to be in a position to maximize helping as many brothers as I can. And I think you guys would agree, Atlanta is just kind of it's a different space, man. It's a space of Black excellence. It's got its challenges, right? Just like everybody else, every other place does. It has its challenges, but people here have a mindset to want to do better. They want to advance the culture. And shout out to a friend of mine. His name is Lamar Tyler. Lamar Tyler is owner of TSP. He and his lovely wife Ronnie. And I was in a mastermind with him, and he said to me, "Man, ain't nothing like Atlanta when it comes to Black business, right?" So yeah, I definitely needed to hear God about it, because before I left, I had to navigate leaving my mom, right?
Yeah.
She was still with us at that time. And so I remember having a conversation with her, and I say, "Precious, I believe I'm going to go to Atlanta." And she was like, "Well, I hate to see you go, but I would be hypocritical because I tell everybody get out of here if you can." and go there. And go where you go where it's going to advance your life and your purpose. So this place has proven to be just kind of what I call the Mecca. It's Black Hollywood out here, man.
Wow.
But it's also a place where everyone will do their best to help and help you to advance and grow. And I've got great relationships out here. Lamar Tyler, Jamal Harrison Bryant, right? So I've got great relationships here that have helped me to navigate getting to this place. And it was an unfamiliar place for me. But it's always, believe it or not, John, man, it's always a place that I've always wanted to be. I just never had the opportunity to really get here and settle here. And now my life is here. I miss my kids. Aside from that, yeah, this is the place to be.
Yeah, that's good, man.
I know you mentioned Black excellence.
Yes.
And I guess in your words, what does that entail when you say Black excellence?
Yeah, man. I want to tell a story, bruh. Dr. Tony Evans tells this story often about his son Jonathan. When Jonathan was little, Jonathan wanted to play basketball, and bruh, he wanted to actually dunk the basketball. He was too small, right? So he runs into his dad's office and he says, "Hey, Pop, I dunked the basketball. Come see." So Tony Evans gets up from his desk, John. He gets up from his desk and goes to watching. And Jonathan dunks the basketball.
Oh, wow.
And Tony is not impressed, right? And so he says to the custodian, the gym supervisor, he said, "Hey, now that I've watched him dunk the basketball, raise the goal back to where the goal is supposed to be. Because I don't want my son to have this misunderstanding that he's accomplished something that he really hasn't accomplished." Right?
Yeah.
Black excellence for me is the embodiment of what George Bush said. He said that sometimes our communities function by what's called the soft bigotry of low expectations, right? That we don't really think we can accomplish. And as a result of that, we have people outside of our communities that don't think we can accomplish. So they continue to lower the goal so that we can celebrate mediocrity.
Yeah.
So for me as a Black man, I've always looked to push myself to raise the standard, to raise the goal, to drive like I want to drive, to live like I want to live, to wear what I want to wear, to be educated in the ways that I want to be educated, to make the money that I want to make, to speak in ways that I want to speak. And Black excellence is the culture here in Atlanta. The expectation is high. Like you can't come here playing around. And brothers, I remember God asking me, "You sure you want to go to Atlanta?" "Yes, sir. I'm sure I want to go to Atlanta." He said, "Donald, right now you're a big fish in a small pond. Are you willing to become a small fish in a big pond until you grow?"
Yeah.
That's a hard question
That's a hard question.
because I've got the cell number of the governors and the mayors, and like here, don't nobody know me. So the challenge was to come here to build a name, to establish a legacy, and to help Black men advance.
Yeah,
And I've been able to at least start that journey. I've got years to go, but that's what Black excellence means to me, man.
that's good. You know what? You know, the Bible says that your gift will make room for you and bring
Yeah,
you before great men. And I
yeah,
think that as I'm looking at your podcast and I'm seeing all these men that have gravitated to this message of
yeah,
remain,
yeah,
uh, and them wanting to be retooled and transformed into something else
yes,
other than what they showed up to be.
yes,
And I believe your message has had that impact on so many men, even men here. And
yeah,
I'm one of them, so I'm a
yeah,
witness
yes, sir.
to the things that you have done here. And because God is no respecter of person, He's only a respecter of His word. You have
Yes.
been able to really impact those gentlemen there. What has been like one of the most challenging things that you've had to do in working with Black men as far as retooling them and bringing them together? Is there a common thread or?
Yeah, man, that's such a good question, bro. Um, brother's not gonna like this, but it is the common thread. We have believed we're victims.
Mm.
We believe we're victims. We believe that the system owes us something. We believe that white people owe us something.
Mm-hmm.
We believe our jobs owe us something. And the
Yeah.
truth of the matter is, no one's coming to save us.
Mm.
That if the adjustments and transformations and wealth building and education and all those kinds of things are to happen for us, it will happen by the sweat of our own brows, the intelligence and brilliance that all of us have that we don't know that we have.
Mm-hmm.
And on the opposite side, John, our sisters killing the game.
They kill
Yes.
them.
I
Yeah.
just want to juxtapose the two. Our
Yeah.
sisters still in the game. They in the C-suite. They are the
Yeah.
most educated. Their
Yes.
income levels are growing. They are
Yes.
hungry.
Yes.
While they are they are building businesses at larger rates or faster rates than Black men are. So we're seeing a gap that is widening between us and our sisters, and it's
Yes.
because we as Black men have gotten comfortable. So we
Yes.
Yeah.
think all we got to do is lay the stick. And
Mm.
if we lay the stick well, then sisters gonna gravitate. Sisters got their own paper now. They got the
That's right.
rose now.
Yes, sir.
like they don't they
They
don't need
got
us
it, boy. They
anymore.
got
We
the
got to
bag
bring
and everything.
else to the
Yeah.
table,
That's a
right?
reflection, man.
So I think the thing that has been a common thread is the fact that we are brilliant. Brothers are brilliant and just
Yes.
don't know it. And the system has been successful at diminishing us to such a place where we think we can only be rappers and we think we can only be
Exactly.
ball players and we think we can, right? No one's talking about the brilliant Black attorneys that are out there, the
That's right.
brilliant Black
That's right.
accountants that are out there, the
That's right.
brilliant Black surgeons that are out there. And let me just stir the pot.
Come on.
Everybody loved Ben Carson until he got successful.
Wow.
Exactly.
Right? Everybody loved Ben Carson until he got successful. And then there's something about us that attempts to bring us down a notch. Like, you don't forget where you came from. Those kinds of ideologies, ways of thinking. We've got to give ourselves permission, to every brother. Give yourself permission to be great and not apologize for it. Like, give yourself permission to be great. There's nothing synonymous with between poverty and Blackness. Poverty and Blackness are not synonymous terms.
No.
But we continue to fall for the okey doke
Yeah.
Mhm.
suggesting that in order to have credibility in the hood, I gotta be poor.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
ain't gotta be poor to
yeah,
have credibility in the
that's
hood.
a,
I gotta
Yeah.
be successful, because the only way for all of us here, and the brothers that are watching, the sisters that are watching need to hear this too. We gotta own something.
yes.
You gotta
That's
own
right.
it,
You gotta own
right?
something. Yeah.
No one's gonna give it to you. So developing a business where I can hire a brother that no one else will hire, that's my
Mhm.
goal. So I
Yeah.
don't just have a business just to have a business. I have a business because I want to be able to employ,
Mm,
right, hundreds of thousands of guys that would not otherwise be employed if there were not a remand on the
Yeah.
scene. So
Mm.
that is the common thread, just being able to kind of elevate the thinking of brothers.
Yeah.
There's your question about you said earlier about I know um, the pay gap between African American females and men are
Yes.
starting to
Mhm.
slowly
Yes.
push away.
Yes.
And it can be kind of discouraging for black males to find a mate because they think they're
Yes.
not good enough for these
Yeah.
females who are they're I mean let's be honest, they're pushing past them. How can we encourage our African American males to not be scared of this, but kind of embrace it, be a part of it, and encourage um, those who have spouses or maybe girlfriends or college mates. I know some people personally who just they get scared because their girlfriend's making 100,000 and they're making 40,000, and
Mhm.
they're fearful
That was
of
me.
let's be real, you know.
Hey, Vince. Hey, Vince. Hey, Vince.
Huh?
For a minute there, I thought you was like really, you know what I mean, throwing a jab at your boy, right?
Oh, wait. No.
Hey, cause Donald, hey, let me be truthful, man.
Yes.
Let me take let me take these off. Hey, when I met my wife, right? You know, it's Dr. Whitney Williams, baby. I ain't
Yes.
listen. Your boy was working. What was I? I mean, I was just like, working a little here and there. I just, I was always on my mission and working with kids,
Yes.
always, doing that. But like there was something in her, but I always had my dream. I always had something that I knew was gonna work. I knew it was gonna happen. I just
Yes.
had to, and I hung around guys like Donald Morton. I listened to cats that had that wisdom that I needed.
Uh-huh.
Mr. Emery Graham, all them cats. I stayed like always around hearing guys, really helping me feed my focus and starve my distractions
Yes, sir.
that helped me on that particular journey.
Yes, sir.
And it helped me bring my game up. And then when I met her, I mean, I guess being a ball player, I always had this, this thing on my chest. Like, I've always had that about me that I
Yes.
was, listen, I got that. I'm a champion. I got that
Yeah.
on me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So I didn't kowtow down to her or anything like that. I felt like that, that I was the prize. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
but deep down inside, I knew like I had to step my game up to be who she needed
Yeah.
in her life, that she could respect and love
Yeah.
and all those things. Because
Yeah.
that's what a man wants. He wants respect from his wife.
Absolutely.
You know what I
Absolutely.
That's
mean?
what I want to
And
teach
and
these young
and
men, man. That's
and,
cool,
and
John.
those things are those things are earned over time.
Yes.
Phew. Phew.
You know what I
Well,
mean?
so let me push a bit though, John. First,
Okay.
before we get into that because I think you bring up a unique point that I don't want to miss, right? Before we get to that, let me just tell all of the viewing audience, Vince, you as well, how badly I used to spank John on the basketball court. Um, Spanking like a child. I spank
Oh man.
spanking like so back to today's broadcast, right? I just needed to make
Hey
sure
Vince,
everybody was
hey Vince, you already know how that went, right?
I want to see.
yeah. John could play some ball. Ain't no doubt about it. Um I want to make sure that John, what's the last statement that you made, man? I done laughed myself out of that last statement.
Well, it was about respect, about she has to respect you.
And then make it more.
it was about respect being earned, right?
Yes, yes.
So there's a slight push that I want to put there, because
Okay.
I agree with you 100% when we say respect is earned. But what I've learned about the primal nature of Black men
Mhm.
is that Black men should be given respect on credit.
Mm.
Like I'm not going to ask you to, I'm not going to make you earn my respect. I'm going to give you respect on credit. Now, if you lose it, that's another conversation, right?
Mm.
And the
Okay.
reason why I say it that way, John, is because it's the primal nature of Black men to want respect, will do anything for it.
Mm.
I
Wow.
can't reach him if on day one I'm trying to get him to earn it. I can't
Okay.
reach him that way. I can only reach, for every sister that's watching, you are a respect given away from your dude being everything that he needs to be.
Mm.
You can't reach him by downing him. You can't reach him by talking crazy to him. I don't care if he doesn't have the highest of education. I don't care if he doesn't make the money that you make. If you don't respect that dude, I promise you, he will never reach his full potential with you always degrading that dude. So that's the reason why, John, I know you do this, Vince. I know you do this. We see a brother, we ain't got to know that brother. We see that brother walking past us, we give him the head nod. What's up, man?
Yeah. Yeah, we do.
Right? And you know what? He can be the hardest criminal. You know what he gonna say? What's up, man?
What's up, man?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
These guys are doing whatever they can to gain and harness respect.
Mm.
Wow. 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 Wow.
Everything.
Wow.
There was some research done that asked brothers this question. If you had a choice between love and respect, which one you choose? 75% of those men said, I don't care whether you love me. I just need you to respect me.
Mm.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
So if I'm going to serve men, the prerequisite for serving men is not that I know how much money that he makes, not how much education he has, not how many women he smashed. The first thing I need to give him is, hey man, I love and respect you. Right? Now, if you do some corny stuff out there,
Yeah.
and chip away at that respect, you gotta earn that from there.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
But on the front end, I'm gonna give him respect. I'm gonna give it to him on credit, because here's the deal: sisters love one another. They ain't gotta earn it.
Wow.
It's crazy how even in relationships, brothers, how a sister expects to be loved, but wants her man to earn her respect.
What? Yeah, I didn't think about that like that.
Yeah.
Right? Like he got to earn my respect. What does that mean? So if that same dude said to you, sis, you got to earn my love, you'd be like, what? That don't even sound right. But because our society has developed a language that is pro-feminine and anti-masculine, we continue to make brothers work for something that should be innately given. And we don't ask sisters to do the same thing. So that's the reason why I push a bit on this term.
I got you. And that makes sense. I feel that all we lie. I feel that. And I think, I know I was, as far as relationships on that level, as we were coming together, I was real immature in that. And then I had never seen a marriage in my family last. Like a relationship that lasts past a certain amount of time. So I didn't have a blueprint to follow. You know what I mean? Everybody that tried it, it failed. So it was like, damn, you know what I mean? So, I'm like salmon swimming upstream. You know what I mean? So I'm, and I'm like hoping that I can make this work.
Yeah.
And
sure.
you know, in the beginning, it was real rough. It
Yeah.
was tight. It was rough in the beginning. Just getting it really, and there was areas in me also that was really immature.
Yeah.
That I wasn't, and then I was coming into a ready-made family. She had a daughter,
Yes.
and then I had to assume the responsibility of being a father,
Yeah.
which I never had.
Yeah.
I didn't meet my dad till I was like 37 years old.
Wow.
My
Hmm.
real father. I didn't meet him
Wow.
till I was 37, and so that was a gap, and that was a wound that was still a gaping open wound that I had not been able to. I had that identity
Yes.
um, about myself as far as my dad was concerned. So there was a lot of missing parts in that. Um, but in spite of that, I still always believed that my thing was I want to be a much better father than
Yeah.
mine was to me.
Yeah.
And I held on to that.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. And it's working. It's happening. I'm not all that I want to be, but I'm way further than
Yeah.
where I was.
Yeah.
And so I'm
Yeah.
ex- I'm excited about that.
Yeah. I wanna talk about that a bit, John.
Okay.
And I want to use Vince's kind of question to kind of frame it, right? Like how do we deal with this divide, right?
Yeah.
That
That's a huge.
is being established between black men and black women. One is, I want you guys to think about this in this way, right? Um, there are no outside of remand, and I'm not saying that because it's remand. I'm saying it because I've researched it.
Mm-hmm.
There are no organizations comprehensively dedicated to the advancement of adult black men.
Hmm. Wow.
And if you think about it, Vince, man, think about this. Remember, the YMCA
Okay.
started out for adult male Christian men,
Yeah, Christian men. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Now, who is the YMCA for?
Oh,
Everybody,
Everybody.
everybody. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's no exclusive.
right? Think
Yeah.
about this. I want you to see what happens. Think about the Boy Scouts of America.
Oh, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Boy
Mhm.
Scouts of America started for boys. Now, the Boy Scouts of America is for everybody. Now, watch this. That ain't even the trick, Vincent. Here's the trick.
Yeah.
Women have been able to successfully infiltrate traditionally male spaces and keep their own.
Mm.
Oh,
I want y'all to see what's been happening. It's been
Wow.
happening under our noses. We just don't recognize it. So,
Mm.
so what women have said is we want access to the Boys Scouts of America, and we still got the Girl Scouts of America. Y'all can't
Mm.
come over here, but we coming over there. We want
Yeah.
access to
wow.
the YMCA, even though we still got the YWCA, and y'all can't come over here, but we can come over there. So if
Wow.
you
Mm.
think about it, bro, what has happened over the course of time is our society has robbed us of uniquely masculine spaces.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
men have no place that is uniquely their own.
Mm.
And we get down differently than our sisters get down. Our
Yes, yes.
sisters
Absolutely.
support one another. We don't know how
Mm-hmm.
to support one another
Mm-hmm.
because every time we try to build something, here come a sister,
Mm.
right? So what we've got to do is I have made a vow, and I'm saying it to everyone publicly. I have made a vow. Remained will always be a uniquely masculine space without entrance to any woman.
Mm.
You cannot
Yeah,
enter.
I
My
love
wife
it.
and my wife, my wife, hey, John, my wife, a couple years ago when we developed the Remand Facebook community, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And my wife and I got married. Actually, before we got married, I introduced everybody to her, and I opened it up to her, let her come in, say hi. 5 minutes later,
Mm.
kicked her tail out.
Yeah.
So she's like, no, I said, oh, no, ma'am, you can't stay in there. We're talking
No.
about real stuff.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
addressing real stuff, right? That black men go through. Men that are cheating on their wives want to find a way out of it. Men that got children that they don't really like because she didn't have an abortion, and so I gotta
Wow.
raise this child I don't even want to have.
Mm.
See, remand is about deep truth telling.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Right? It's about holding space for a man to
Yeah.
be not judged when he's telling the truth about
Okay.
the fact
Yeah.
that he's really dealing with some internal chaos that no one wants to let him get out because they're going to judge him the moment he parts his lips.
Wow.
Man.
Right? So what makes Remain a great space, and we don't call it, I hate the term safe space. I just hate it. Because whenever we talk about safe spaces, what it means is I require you to create the space for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I call it courageous spaces, meaning I'm courageous enough to tell the truth regardless of what you do with the truth I tell you.
Mm.
Don't matter to me. I'm free.
I'm free. Yeah. Free to
Right?
tell. Exactly.
So if you guys will think about it, Vincent, man, from your perspective, right? You ask, what can we do to kind of deal with this gap? We got to support one another. We've got to hold one another accountable, and we got to hold institutions that are making it difficult for us to advance. We got to hold them accountable too.
Mm-hmm.
Sisters got all, they ain't more brilliant than we are. They got support,
Mm.
Yeah.
right? You got the Black Women's Development Center.
Yeah.
You got women-owned businesses. You got millions of dollars in grants given to women-owned businesses, right?
Yeah.
And so when you look at minority-owned businesses, this is what most people don't know. So John owns a business, Vince, you own a business, I own a business, right? We talk about minority-owned business. The lion's share of that money is going to Black women. And for those of us that don't think the white man is involved, he is, because the one that's getting a whole lot of money is white women.
Oh.
So all of us think that when you talk about minority-owned business, you're talking about this. You're not talking about this.
Yeah.
You're
Because
talking
women
about
are
Black
minority.
men, Black
Yeah, they're still
women,
minorities
and
too.
white
Yeah.
women.
Yeah, they're a minority.
They're a minority. So
Yeah.
what white men then do is say, hey, babe, start a business. Go get some of that paper.
Yeah.
And take that paper from Black, right? They take the
Yeah.
paper
Right.
from Black men, Black women. So we've got to create space, hold one another accountable, stop compete. Now, competition is always going to be a part. Just like I told you, Vincent, I spanked John.
Yeah.
Right? It was the competitive nature in me.
Yep.
It's the competitive nature in John, for John to push back, like, you know what it was. Donald
you
didn't spike me. You know what it was, right? So we got to learn how to leverage that in a
Yeah.
way that elevates us, and as a result, our communities.
And I
Yeah.
mean,
That's
I
beautiful.
want to touch base off of what you said, John. Actually, John, I believe John said this earlier. The playbook. Let's talk about your book, Remand. And in fact, I think I have a picture of it right here.
Yeah.
Remand, the book, Spiritual Journey of Mastering Life, Leadership and Legacy. Can you dive into remanding us
Yeah,
men?
man. The Remand book, The Spiritual Journey for Mastering Life, Leadership, and Legacy. You see the logo there before all of us came on. We were talking about the logo that was done. We went through an entire rebrand. So what you'll see here is the logo. You see a stake pointing down to the center of three intersecting ovals. Those intersecting ovals are life, leadership, and legacy. Those are things that we call inside Remain domains. Those areas of domains are areas that you should be, as a Black man, to comprehensively dominate. We are not here in an effort to be mediocre. We're not here just to compete. We're here to dominate. That is what the scripture says. The scripture says we've been sent here to dominate.
Yeah.
Right. So there's a life domain, there's a leadership domain, there's a legacy domain. So we believe that every man should be able to reach that small space, that intersection between life, leadership, and legacy, that he has to have his life together, his personal life. Life is his money, having his finance together, having his health and wellness together, and having his fun together. We are probably one of the only organizations in the entire country, or perhaps world, that has a fun coach. We have a coach that does nothing but teach us how to have fun. That's what his job is inside Remanned.
Right.
Leadership is not leadership in the way that we would traditionally think about leadership. When we talk about leadership inside Remanned, we're talking about you're being a leader, as John talked about earlier, as a husband. We're talking about being able to be a leader as a father. And then we're also talking about being a leader as a son to a vulnerable parent. Because oftentimes what happens is we grow up and we forget that the circle of life will demand that you take care of your parents. Right? My greatest joy, gentlemen, I'm gonna say it without crying. My greatest joy was to come home for the last 3 months of my mom's life and take care of her. To make sure that I could feed her and cook her breakfast and laugh with her and make her last days her best days. To drive her places, to go to the doctor with her, to fuss at her. I've always wanted to fuss at her. She always fussed at me. I get a chance to fuss at her, like, eat the food, eat the food. She's like, boy, if you don't get out of my face, right? So I've always had that privilege of taking care of my mom. And then legacy is every black man should build a business. Every black man should be active in his community. And every black man should have philanthropic activity. He should be giving to something outside of himself. For us, that, gentlemen, is what a man is. A man is a male who consistently demonstrates a comprehensive accountability to his creator and a responsibility for himself, his family, and his society. So anything other than that, you are a male, you're not a man. There is a difference between a male and a man, and I think we gotta highlight that difference.
That's a good point. So we started this, the platform is based off of helping especially young men and women about the HBCUs and encourage them that they can do things, when they graduate, alumni, and just support. We are definitely God-based, God-fearing, and we want people to, be encouraged that if you do believe in God, you can, showcase that. Now we are in a climate where we talk about God, or it's like it's a bad thing, or it's a, negative thing. We want African Americans to know that it's not, and be who God told you to be. When me and John and one of our other partners, Mike, we give back as much as possible.
Absolutely, and that's and that's a great point, Vince, because it's so necessary for these young brothers to see us in that role of giving back and wanting to see them better, wanting to see them, in a better space. And I always felt like that after high school, there should be some kind of rites of passage kind of piece for young black men to go through. So they can really understand the vicissitudes of life. And how do we manage them? How do we pay bills? Sometimes, because a lot of these young brothers didn't have fathers. They didn't have the right models going into school. And so I think what Donald is doing is such a great thing of being able to empower, impact, and transform the lives of these young men that are coming out and having the responsibility to assume leadership in a place in a space where they may not have ever been trained
Yeah.
on how to become a leader.
Yeah. So let me push again, because God, you saying some good stuff. Both of you brothers are saying some good stuff. And again, let me take it back, John. Let me take it back, Vince, man, to what we talked about maybe 15 minutes ago.
Okay.
Let's talk about who's really being served in our communities,
Mm.
who's really being supported, right? We
Yeah.
talked about Black women. We know that they're being supported. Guess who else
Right.
is being supported? Children are being supported. There
Mhm.
are countless mentoring programs.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and John, you can speak to this a little more. Vince, you can speak to this a little more, because I may just be old and grumpy now, right? I'm old and grumpy, but I get frustrated when I hear people say we children don't have no community center. That's not true.
What? Yeah,
That's not
they got
true.
plenty.
We have community centers for kids. We
Yeah.
do,
Yeah,
right?
we got
So
plenty.
kids are being served, women are being served. Listen, I don't want no smoke. I just want to bring this out. The LGBTQIA plus community is being served. So all of the dollars are being disseminated with mentoring programs, so on and so forth. We're taking care
Mhm.
of those vulnerable populations. But gentlemen, let's be clear. The number one vulnerable population right now is not the LGBTQIA plus community. It's not children, and it's not women. It is adult Black males.
It
Yeah.
is.
And here's the problem.
It
If we
is.
continue, because I believe this, John, I believe this, Vince. You guys tell me what you believe. Man, y'all done got the preacher out. Let me calm myself down. Let me tell you what I believe. I believe one of the, and people always get pissed off with me when I say it, but let me just tell you, my whole goal is to eradicate the need for mentoring programs. Big brother, big sister. The natural number one mentor is dad.
Mm.
What
Bible
if
tell
we
you.
had a world, John? I'm just asking you to dream with me for a moment, man. What if we had a world where we could train biological fathers to reintroduce themselves to their biological children and
Mm.
develop healthy relationship? I know children right now. I know guys right now, John, who live
Mm.
across the street from their children and have nothing to do with it.
Wow.
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 So all of us as mentors, right?
Mm-hmm.
I already know. I'm just gonna look the other way. I already know what you're gonna say to me, because I already know the answer to the question I'm going to ask you. How many young men that you have mentored and served to the best of your ability and capacity still leave your presence wondering, where my dad at though? Thank you
Yeah.
for what you do. I'm grateful that you're in my life, but
Yeah.
there is nothing that can satisfy the deep and gaping hole in the soul of a young man who
Mm.
wants to know, where in the heck is my dad?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No
we do
doubt
all
about it.
we can, but you can't answer that without engaging dad. So a part of what we've been doing is attempting to re-engage dad
Mm.
and help him to understand your young man ain't gonna make it without you.
That's right.
And you know what else we found out, John? And Vince, this is what else we found out. That dads genuinely want to be involved. They don't
Mm.
know how.
They don't know how to approach
And
it.
many of
Okay.
them have been absent for so long, they just say,
Yeah.
man, I ain't gonna do nothing but mess that cat's life up, entering his life. Let me just let him and his mom do his thing. But when they get back together and they hash out all of the drama, and dad lets his son cuss him out, because he's gonna cuss him out.
Yeah. He gonna
You're
get
gonna have
me.
to take that.
Yeah.
You ain't been there. You're gonna have to take that. Let him
Mm.
cuss you out, let him cry, let him go through everything he's got to go through. Can I tell you the embrace that these brothers have had for one another? And now I have mentored and coached adult Black men who have reintroduced themselves to their fathers, connected
Mm.
those relationships, who now have a relationship with their grandkids that they hadn't even met simply because someone took initiative to say, hey, we want adult males to get it together.
Yeah.
Everybody
Yeah.
keeps talking about, unless we deal with these kids, you can't deal with the kids without his biological father.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
He's still
But
gonna ask the question, where my dad at though? Why he
yeah.
don't want me?
Yeah.
And because he has one side of the story, he's got mom telling him, your dad ain't want you, he ain't this, he ain't
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
right? Because that's the only version that he hears. Biological dads have to rise and reclaim position in their young man and young lady's life. So that's
Without
my
a doubt.
soapbox,
Without
man.
a doubt. That's without a doubt. Working in the most impoverished school in the city of Wilmington, the Bancroft School, now getting ready to be the Maurice Pritchett Senior
Oh
Academy.
wow,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
My God.
Um, I can't tell you how true that is and how it
Yes,
really hits me
yes, sir.
because of so many young black men who really desire relationship with their biological father.
Yes, sir.
You know, so many times I've had to set up visits so he could see his dad. Dad just came
Wow.
home from jail.
Wow.
Dad was in the plumber house. And I know because of certain connections. And I had to make, you know, this thing happen for this young man and his father that he
Yes, sir.
got to see his, you
Yes,
know,
sir.
yo, coach, man, I got a scene, man. You know what I mean? Can you make it happen? Me and his mom ain't on good terms. We just don't see eye to eye. It just ain't working. But I want a scene, man. Can you? I said, let's go.
Say
It's
less.
on. I said,
Yes,
come on
sir.
now. I
Yes,
said,
sir.
we got practice today. Come through. We got basketball practice. Come through. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? You come hang out and you get to see your kid. You know
Yes,
what I
sir.
mean? Or writing letters to his dad in
Yes,
in
sir.
jail.
Yes, sir.
Um, Having some bridge of communication to
Yes, sir.
really help him feel like
Yes, sir.
somebody, like my dad loves me. He cares about me.
Yes, sir.
Those kinds of things, man, that you couldn't be more right, man, in what you're sharing because I see it. I see it.
Yes, sir.
Um, and I've seen where, you know, I seen it where dad came home from the plumber center and he was a part of the meeting with the teachers, mom, and the son. And I'm in there like a fly on the wall looking at the whole piece. And I see this young man
Yes,
perk
bro.
up like this.
Yes, bro. Yes,
His
sir.
whole his whole his whole countenance
Yes,
and
sir.
his posture changes because I got Mufasa in the room.
Absolutely.
You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? I got my daddy in the
Absolutely.
room, and I got a
Absolutely.
sense of pride about me now. And now
Absolutely.
that he's in my life, I'm gonna act like I got some sense.
Absolutely.
Because Pop,
Absolutely, bro.
because Pop is requiring that in spite of what the mistakes he may have made.
Yes, man.
He's
Yes,
saying to his
bro.
son, I
Yes,
don't
sir.
want you to visit the place I was at. So I'm
Yes, sir.
here to make sure that this don't happen to you.
Yes.
And so the young man is sitting up, you know what I mean? And he was wrong in the things he did, but now he's taking on a whole new, you know, posture and an attitude. I can't tell you, you know, how he comes to school the next day
Yes.
with
Yeah.
a whole
Yes.
new mentality.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Chest out, like coach, I'm ready.
Yes. Yes. And let me
Right.
say this,
That's
man.
priceless. You can't pay
Yeah.
for that.
You can't pay for that. And for those that are social workers watching, for the Department of Health and Social Services that is watching, for those that are mentoring programs that are watching, hear me. I need you to hear what John just said. There's this adage, Vincent, that says we are not our mistakes. I'm
Mm,
suggesting that we are.
mm,
We are our mistakes. It is a part of the story, and it is a part of what makes us valuable,
Mm.
right? What if we could take the mistakes that we've had, that we've made, and leverage them to help the next generation? Leverage, don't hide your mistakes. Give all
Mm.
your mistakes to suggest that our mistakes have nothing to do with who we are is nonsense. We
Mm.
are our mistakes.
Yes.
We just have to learn how to leverage them. Like John said, Dad, come home. I made my mistake, son. I never forget the first time I had to have a conversation with Keishad and Hunter.
Mm.
And I had to tell them, hey, man, your dad had an issue with women. Let me tell you, brothers, you have an issue with women.
Mm.
Right? I had to lay it on the line. I
Yeah.
couldn't act like I didn't make the mistakes, and I couldn't act like those mistakes haven't helped to shape who I've become. They have.
Yeah.
We just got to learn how to leverage it and effectively use it as a witnessing tool to our own children to say, you don't have to take this road, my guy. There's nothing down this road but heartache,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? But the good news, John, is the good news, Vincent, is they don't listen to anyone without a story.
Mm. That's right.
They don't listen to anyone. What you gonna tell them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's right.
Right? So thank you all for letting me get that out. It's a passionate part of the work. But what I also understand is being a great dad is not all to it, because if you don't know how to handle your money, if you don't know how to handle your health and wellness, if
Yeah.
you don't know how to start a business from scratch, a lot of these boys on the block, the dope boys on the block, they know business.
Oh yeah.
They businessmen.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hate the product,
Mm-hmm.
but I love their business savvy.
Yeah.
Yep.
And their business savvy for real is until death do us part.
Mm-hmm.
Like you you can die doing this.
Yeah. That's how
Right?
that's how serious it is.
That's how
Yeah.
serious it is.
And that's
So
they hear
what if
that.
we could just tell brothers, hey brothers, y'all got the goods. You got all the makings of success. Let's transform your life. Let's make you a husband, because Chris Broussard, one of my friends, Chris Broussard,
Oh
he's
yeah.
a sports analyst, right? Chris says all the time, the most revolutionary thing, I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna be quiet. The most revolutionary thing a black man can do in this country is to get married, stay committed to his wife, and raise his family.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
Say that again.
revolutionary.
That's
Say that again.
revolutionary.
Say it one more time.
The most revolutionary thing a black man can do today in this country is to get married, stay committed to his wife, and raise his children.
Mm.
That is revolutionary in our society.
Without a
Because
doubt.
can I tell y'all brothers this? 86% of billionaires are married with families.
You said 86%.
You don't get that level of success
Without
without it.
her.
Hey Don, I want to and one more thing, before we actually break, can you give a message to our young students who are entering our HBCUs and graduating? Some encouragement for our young men who may have fear coming into college, and those who are graduating, going out to the real world. What would you say to those, to that
Don't
population?
do it. No, that's not. No, that's not. Vince done set it up real nice. Vince set it up real nice. Now I'm going
He
to
said,
tell him
"Don't do
something
it."
like, "Don't do it." No, feel all the fear. Feel all the fear. Like embrace it. There are too many people telling y'all as young men not to be afraid. Right? The Christian language, fear not. No, fear. Embrace it. Walk through it. It's not the absence of fear that makes you successful. It's your willingness to confront it, to fully dive into it, to understand it, to be enveloped by it, because it's only then that you can conquer it. You can't conquer a fear that you're unwilling to confront.
Wow.
Right? So what's going on out here is scary. It's scary out here. Right? You're entering college. It's a different environment. You don't necessarily have the structure, right? When you were in elementary school, they held your hand through it. You got to middle school, they took a little more away from you as it relates to hand holding. High school, they did less. College, they don't even care.
It ain't no
You do your work or you don't do your work.
money.
Like they don't care. So you're going to have to develop, sir, what's called a strong internal locus of control, meaning that you've got to understand that your entire life, I'm going to say something controversial. Every Christian, turn your ears off because you're not going to like what I'm about to say. But you got to develop such an internal locus of control that you understand you're the master of your life. God's not the master of your life. He's not. He's done everything he's going to do. Stop praying for a God to save you. He's done his work. He rested and has been resting ever since. Right? At the end of the day, whatever your life is going to be, it's going to be because you make it that. God has given you every single tool.
Every tool.
If you don't believe me, believe the Bible. This is what the Bible says. He's giving you everything that pertains to life and godliness. Everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything you'll ever need is deep on the inside of you. And so what I'm asking you brothers to do is to face the fear, to embrace the fear, and to understand this. There are two connections, Vincent, that every man has to have. Two connections, just two. It's a vertical connection. That's a sacred connection between you and the source. Inside every man, we don't call him God, we don't call him Jesus, we don't call him Allah, because we've got different theological persuasions. We got Muslims, we got Christians, we got Buddhists. We call him the source. And for those of you that think I done went bananas, source is the other word for Abba Father. Source means source and sustainer. Abba Father means source and sustainer. You can go look it up. So I'm still in the book. I haven't gone too far from the book. Unless my mom slapped me, I'm not going too far from the book. So none of us have a problem, John and Vince, based on the sacredness of the vertical connection. Can I offer this to you? Equally sacred is the horizontal connection. The connection I have with you, John, the connection that I have with you, Vince, is equally sacred. It's the principle Ubuntu. Ubuntu simply means, it doesn't mean I'm my brother's keeper. It means I am my brother. We are one and the same. Your struggle is my struggle. My struggle is your struggle. We rise together. We fall together. We are each other. So one of the great things about college is that it helps you develop sacred connections in both ways, vertical, horizontal. You can't make it without either one of them. Right? I need John. I need Vincent. I can't make it without y'all. And contrary to what everybody thinks, they can't make it without y'all either. And y'all can't make it without them. And y'all can't make it without me. The entire movement of Remand is designed for every Black male to understand we need each other.
We do.
And every time you pull that trigger, you've taken away somebody that you needed. So everyone going into college, embrace the journey, have fun, learn, be a part of the culture. Those of you that are graduating, understand that a world awaits you that doesn't want to see you win. But these brothers on here, we want to see you win. And all of us are a phone call away to make sure that you reach your full potential.
Hey, Donald Morton, we'd like to thank you for coming on today, but we also want to get your information out at the bottom of the ticker. You can give out your information as well. How can they reach you and purchase your book?
Yeah, they can go to www.theremandbook.com and they can order a copy of the book there. They can also DM me on any one of my social media platforms. All of them are I am Don Morton. They can get me there. If you are a man, though, I do want to say this. If you're a man, you're a businessman, and you want to learn how to dominate the game of business while thriving in marriage and not losing yourself, I'm the best that ever did it. I'm not a business coach. I'm just not. I know several business coaches, and if that's what you're looking for, I can send you to one. I'm a coach for Black businessmen who want to master it all, who want to reach that small space in that logo that very few reach, not because they can't, but because they're not willing to put in the work that it takes to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Got families, you got a dream. Remanned is the place to help you manifest your dream to 6 and 7 and 8 figures, so that you can now be responsible for a culture that desperately needs you if it's going to elevate. So hit me up if any of that resonates with you. Hit me up and let's talk about how we can work together.
Well, John, you want to take us out?
Yeah, man. Well, listen, HBCU community, man, listen, this has been an awesome, time that we've had to spend with Donald Morton. It was just amazing. I'm hoping that there's some nuggets, there's something that was shared here that you can begin to make applicable to your life and the lives of those that God has put you over. So we're really excited here. We always like to say, listen, work like it depends on you, but pray like it depends on God. And so we want to thank each and every one of you. Thank you, brother Donald Morton. We celebrate you. We celebrate you, my brother, for all that you're doing. We love you. Continue the work that you're doing. And this will not be the last time that we connect. Hey, Vince, we out.
And if you want to donate, you can reach us at
Donate to the HBCU original cause. Help out our broadcast to continue to get out quality info to the viewers.